Hey guys, welcome to the arcade. Thanks very much for joining me. And over the last couple of weeks, I've sort of realised that we've been talking a lot about news and disappointment and things like that of the new releases and what have we. We haven't really gotten to see any proper gameplay or go back to like old retro games and discover things like that. And I love doing that, and so I thought I'll start that back up again. I want to go back over my old arcade machines, show you the classics that I have, some of the games that are on Battersera and things like that, and we'll do more. We'll do more gameplay, which is really what I want to be sharing with you guys, because there's games out there that people will absolutely have never heard of, and maybe things that are in the back of your mind that you go, oh, I really want to play that again, spark something in you. But today I wanted to talk about this old girl. This is the first arcade 1up I picked up. It was way back during the first lockdown for the UK, and it was my first sort of. I had never heard of arcade 1up before any of this. It was a website that I would go to called This Is Why I'm Broke, and this machine came up. I was like, that looks absolutely fantastic. You can get one of these for your home. Where do I buy one of these from? And it came up, Smith's. I just jumped at it. I thought I've always loved the 4-player Turtles cabinet. This is a 4-player at home Turtles arcade cabinet. I have to get it. So let's take a look at how she's stood the test of time and get some gameplay going from you. So let's have a quick look, shall we? The cabinet itself is still in pretty decent order, so you can see everything is pretty much as it was. The only thing that I would say is if we come around to this side, you can see that the colours are a little bit faded, and that's simply because I used to have that window sort of open and clear, and the sunlight would hit the older vinyl and start to fade it. Now I don't seem to have the same sort of problem on the ones like Pac-Man. Maybe it's getting a bit blocked or anything like that. Mortal Kombat, you can sort of see it has happened a bit, but these are the older generation machines. Can't really say if the vinyl will hold up on the newer ones because they're sort of out of the light, but something to be aware of just on the older machines, that you may get a little bit of fading, but to me it's not a killer or anything like that. You can definitely see, if you look down at April's clothes there, you can see where the line has hit it, so bit of a disappointment. The machine itself, like I say, is still in great condition. The two games on it are absolutely fantastic, Turtles and Turtles in Time. One thing to note about this particular cabinet is, you will hear it in just a second here, so the main theme song, which I hope I don't get flagged for, so in the original cabinet they didn't get the full rights or whatever to it, so if you listen, that's not how the original machine sounded. So that for some reason that Heroes in a Half Shell bit was, I don't know, had to be re-recorded or whatever for just for this cabinet. The Turtles in Time one, the proper sound and music or whatever you want to say, is restored, so it is the original, just like the arcade machine. It just seems to be for this one. Whether Nickelodeon didn't give over the full rights to it or whatever, I'm not entirely sure, but that little bit of sound had to be re-recorded for this machine. But yeah, it's definitely one that gets a lot of play. Me and my son do love coming out here and playing this. He will always go for Leonardo, where I'll go for Michelangelo, as I did when I was a kid. Now when it comes to gameplay, you can't fault this. It is just exactly the same as it was on the the original machine. The controls are incredibly simple. Jump and attack, your motion, you're always going to the right, so, and then it is just good old-fashioned Konami beat 'em up, which is absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant for its time. It's still brilliant now. don't know how often I would have played this in my local arcade. It's a machine that I always gravitated towards, mainly because I would have watched the cartoon, you know, before and after school, or you know, whenever it was on. You little gap. So it was a franchise that I knew. Good grief. And so naturally I would have gravitated towards it. Oh, shell shocked. Oh, we got the guns out. I do always like how it would scale the difficulty. Well, they increased the enemy count to depend on how many guys you would have had in the guys playing. The drop in, drop out kind of mentality of these 4-player machines was always really cool. So you could, if someone was doing really well, you could always stick a couple of credits in and help them out. Oh man, it's definitely a cabinet that I will not get rid of. I always want to have this in my collection. Yes, it was my first one, and it was bought for a very good reason. The nostalgia factor is absolutely huge for this game, just for me. There we are, there we go. And then here comes the shredder. Overall, I still love this game. It was the first time that I ever completed this game was on when I picked up my arcade 1up. Simply because you could... Some of the bosses were very, very difficult, especially when you were a kid. You didn't have money that you could just keep sinking into one game. You maybe stuck 2-3 credits into it, see how far you could get, and then you moved on to the next one, which is what most would do. But because you've got the infinite credits here, you can just sort of... I'm getting my ass kicked! Ass kicked there, I'm getting. Sorry, I don't know why I turned into Yoda there. Always did love any of the Konami side-scrollers. Like, if they ever brought out a Sunset Riders machine, I would definitely be picking that up as well. But yeah, so I've had this for, what, 2 and a bit years now? And it's definitely... whoops! It's definitely one that gets a lot of game time. When people come over, like they're around the same sort of age as myself, so they do gravitate towards it because of the same nostalgia factor that I have for it. And of course, you do only get the 2 games on it, but that's perfectly fine. The Turtles in Time game and this are great. The replayability is just loads of fun. You can have beaten this I don't know how many times before. It is just so much fun to pick up and, you know, beat up a couple of the Foot Clan. Whoa! Well, there you have it, guys. That was a quick overview of the old Turtles cabinet. It's still something that I really love and will continue to play. If you have any questions about it or anything like that, give me a shout in the comments and I'll be very happy to answer for you. But until next time, thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.